The Boston Celtics are the team to beat in the NBA. With the best winning percentage and the top team in the Eastern Conference, this Celtics squad is led by superstars Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis, with awesome performances from Jrue Holiday and Derrick White. But there are some guys that don't get enough recognition. Guys like Al Horford and Sam Hauser, who are definitely deserving to get their props. So in today's video, we're going to be analyzing those two players for the Boston Celtics, looking at some game splits, and talking about how impactful they've been for the Celtics team this year, as they are the final two guys to complete the top 7. We'll be breaking that down in this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we get into any Boston Celtics content, I would like to say that roughly right around 80% of our viewers are not subscribed, and would greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We're getting closer and closer to our goal of 3,000 subscribers, and we can't do it without your guys' help. So if you guys want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as you definitely won't regret it. But let's dive into the news at hand today. So make sure to grab a snack, as today's episode is going to be a jam-packed one, as we dive into looking at these players are balling this season and discussing two impactful players for the Boston Celtics. Obviously, this Celtics team has been fantastic this year, led by the amazing starting five of Jrue Holiday, Derrick White, Kristaps Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, and Jayson Tatum. All 5 of those guys have had impactful games where they've been a top 2 or top 3 or even top scorer for this team, and have had impactful games where they lead the offense. Derrick White has emerged as an all-star candidate and has been a blossoming piece with these top 3 guys. And a guy in Jrue Holiday, who the Celtics knew would have a little bit of a lessened role on offense, still helps out by playmaking and getting rebounds, and also in the nights where he's needed on offense can help out the Boston Celtics. So ultimately, this starting 5 is fantastic. But when we look at other guys on this roster, 2 key names have really stepped up for the Boston Celtics this season, and that's Al Horford and Sam Hauser. So we'll be breaking down both of those players here in today's video. First, we'll be taking a look at Sam Hauser. Now, Sam Hauser last year was a little bit of a kind of end-of-the-bench piece for the Boston Celtics, got some shine in some games, was all right for the Boston Celtics, but this season has really taken off. He's averaging 8.5 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 1 point assist off of 45% shooting from the field, which is pretty solid, and he's emerged himself as the Celtics' only bench wing and the replacement for Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum when it is necessary. We want to look at Sam Hauser's shooting splits per month, as you guys can see. In the month of October, there were only 3 games, and he didn't start off the hottest. He had a little bit of a slow start to the preseason, and I was very much not that big of a fan of Sam Hauser. But after we had seen this season kind of get into the swing of things, Sam Hauser started getting more and more comfortable. In the month of November, he had his best month, averaging 10.5 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 0.9 assists off of almost 50% shooting from the field and 46% shooting from 3, which is double his percent from shooting in the month of October, and from field goal range and from 3-point range. In the month of December, he decided to quiet down a little bit, shooting a little bit less from the field at 42% and 40% from the 3-point range, but averaging a little bit more rebounds at 3.9 and 1.3 assists, totally averaging 7.1 points. So even though his shot was going down and he wasn't making as many opportunities, he was still driving and getting that offensive board or defensive board hitting the glass and looking for his teammates to give them the assist, even if he could not make those shots. And as we've seen in the month of January, the Boston Celtics have started off pretty great so far. And in this month, the Celtics, Sam Hauser has averaged 8 points, 3.3 total rebounds, 0.7 assists on 47% shooting and 40% shooting from 3. So he's getting that field goal percentage back up there a little bit. His 3 is roughly right around the same, but the month just started and we have this whole time to evaluate Sam Hauser. Personally, I'm a really big fan of Sam Hauser, guys. I really like his style of play, and I like how he brings this nice 3-point shooting to the bench that we do have, but it comes in stretches where Sam Hauser is that main 3-point shooter. We've seen Payton Pritchard try to be that shot creator and that scorer for the guard position, and it's worked in some games, but he's been a little bit better of a facilitator and offensive rebounder this year and kind of playmaking and setting up the offense than actually hitting his shots. A guy like Sam Hauser is perfect to play alongside Payton Pritchard, as Payton Pritchard can give him those open looks for 3, and it can help him out get some gelling and some actual great teammates. Also, the next player we're going to be diving into for the Boston Celtics is Al Horford. Now, Al Horford had a fantastic role for the Boston Celtics over the last couple years, and bringing in Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, he had to take a little bit of a lessened role. coming off the bench this year, kind of being that six-man-esque player. Al Horford is averaging 7.6 points, 6.9 total rebounds, and 3.1 assists off of 48.3% field goal shooting. And like I mentioned, Al Horford has kind of taken the six-man role when the Boston Celtics all ultimately came together at the start of the season. They all had to figure out what would be the best potential starting lineup for this squad, and they all ultimately said that Al Horford coming off the bench would be the most successful for the team. Al Horford was taking that very, very nicely, accepted that bench role, but realizes that he still needs to be impactful when his number is called on. If we want to look at the stats from the year so far, as you guys can see, with Sam Hauser, Al Horford had a little bit of a slow start to the season, only shooting around 37% from the field and 25% from three. He was averaging around 7.3 total rebounds and 1.7 assists, but he only had about 5.3 points. In the month of November, he started to get his shot a little bit back for the Boston Celtics, but it wasn't completely there, shooting around 48% from the field, which is a lot better than his 36, and 36% from the three-point line compared to his 25. In this month, he also get his points up 2 more points from 7.2 to 5.3, and also to lessen his rebounds a little bit, but getting his assists and blocks up. His assists doubling basically, and his blocks also going up from 0.3 to 1.2, which is fantastic. But in the month of December, Al Horford had his best month, shooting around 50% from the field, 41%, almost 42% from three, averaging 7.6 total rebounds, the most he's averaged, 3.1 assists, the most he's averaged this season, and 0.9 blocks off of 8.5 points. So a little bit less on the blocks on the defensive side this month, but a lot better offensively for the Celtics. And then in the month of January, he's played 2 games, as he did not play in the Utah Jazz game, as it was a back-to-back for the Celtics, but averaging 8.5 points, 4.5 total rebounds, 5.5 assists, 3.5 blocks, doing effective things, 38% from the three and 53% from the field. So Al Horford ultimately has really, really gotten his shot under par for the Boston Celtics in the last couple of games, and that is what's helped the Celtics kind of get a little bit of offense. Now, I know in my last couple of recent videos and in some trade videos, I mentioned that the Celtics possibly could be trading Al Horford. And that is no means necessary that I want the Celtics to do that. And I've stated that in every single video that I don't believe the Celtics should trade Al Horford to go and get these other pieces. It's just the only contract that the Celtics have to make a deal get done. That's why his name has to be thrown into the rumors. Do I think he should be traded? No. He's a vet locker room presence. He has a great relationship with Jayson Tatum on the team. They take the plane everywhere together. And he also is an embodiment of what a true Celtic is. He is that veteran guy in the locker room. He is that cooling and soothing sensation. And he is fantastic when he needs to step up. We mentioned he has embraced that 6th man of the year role, kind of embraced taking that bench role. But as we've seen with the Boston Celtics, and we saw last night, Kristaps Porzingis can get in a little bit of an injury escape. We saw him in the FIBA World Cup sit out because he had that plantar fasciitis. We've seen his calf act up a little bit this season, and now we see the right eye irritation. Well, Al Horford has done tremendous for the Boston Celtics when starting. We want to look at the stats here. In 12 games starting this season, Al Horford is shooting 48% from the field, 35% from three, with averaging 7.8 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1.5 blocks, and 8.8 total points. If we want to compare that to all of the months that we just looked at, when starting, Al Horford is averaging more points than in all of the months, more blocks, more assists, more rebounds, and the best field goal percentage. That means that Al Horford, when playing with the starters, is obviously generating a lot based off of those guys because they're better players, but he's also helping that role and not being a net negative for the Boston Celtics when he's stepping up. And that's the impactful thing that you want to see out of our Celtics role players. Guys like Hauser and Horford have been the main two to kind of step in when an injury has come out, and they have helped out the Boston Celtics when they need to be. Guy like Payton Pritchard is the next guy to get called up, and he has been all right this season, has had some rocky starts. Needs to get that shooting underneath a little bit better to be a more productive player for this offense. But his playmaking and the way that he's been able to help the Celtics close out some games with some foul trouble with some of the Celtics guards has helped out in a lot of ways. But personally, I'm really excited about this Boston Celtics team, and I'm very excited to talk about these two guys in Sam Hauser and Al Horford, as I think they are really impactful pieces. And I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments as well. So let me know what you guys think of Sam Hauser and Al Horford. I think they both are generally great role players for this Boston Celtics team to help them make that push for their championship, and they are definitely untouchables for the Boston Celtics when we get to the trade deadline. I think the top 5 with those two guys is the 7 that must not get touched. And if the Celtics are looking to make a move, they should definitely use that Grant Williams traded player exception that they got over in the off season. Let me know your guys' thoughts and comments down in the comments down below, though. I really do appreciate hearing your guys' thoughts. But that's what we're going to be wrapping up for this episode of Celtics Digest, breaking down Sam Hauser and Al Horford and how impactful they are for the Celtics team and why they are main pieces. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.